Welcome to another edition of Facebook Live here at Watterson High School today. I'm here with Scott Hennen from ThisWeek. Frank DiRenna is going to be joining us in a couple minutes. And we're here visiting with Watterson boys basketball coach Vince Lombardo. How's it going today, Vince?
Going well. Good to be here.
You guys are heading to a district championship game on Saturday at 4 o'clock. You're going to be playing South. You guys are coming off a really good win against Beechcroft the other night. What were some of your takeaways from that game the other night against Beechcroft?
Well, overall, we played one of our best games of the year, and defensively, our guys did an outstanding job. We controlled the pace of the game. We did some things at both ends of the floor that we really needed to do in keeping control of the basketball game against an excellent Beechcroft team. So we were very, very fortunate that things went the way we had planned. Sometimes a plan comes together and works well, and it did the other night.
You guys have won, I believe, 9 of your last 10, and you haven't even had Davis Boone during a lot of that time. What's been some of the reasons that things have come together so well here late in the season for you?
Well, in honesty, it's 9 of 11 because we had a game over Dayton that nobody seems to know about. But during that time, I think we've been improving throughout the year. I always feel like our teams make good progress in some of the things that we're trying to do. It starts with things at the defensive end, rebounding the ball well. Good shot selection, some of the basics that I think all coaches trying to get accomplished. I think always a big factor for us too is we have several football players in the mix, and sometimes it takes to about January before they're really they've got their basketball legs. So that's always a big help to us as well in the second half of the year.
Now, you played Beechcroft the other night. How do they match up, or how do they compare to South? Because South's a pretty up-tempo team.
They sure are. South is an outstanding team. I've chatted with a few folks that I think they may be the best Division II Central District team since our clubs of 13-14 when we made a couple trips to the state final. South is very similar in makeup to Beechcroft, but I think just a little bit better, notch or two higher in terms of their capabilities on the basketball floor. So we really have to step it up even more on Saturday.
How do you handle their depth? Because they go 7, 8, 9 deep.
That'll be a challenge because they go very deep. They rely on that to kind of try and wear you down. So I think just going to tell my guys you need to be exhausted at the end of the game. So we're going to just really try to hang in there, play tough throughout the ball game. Hopefully hang around and give ourselves a chance to win at the end.
You mentioned those great teams that you had, the state championship team in 2013 and the runner-up team the next year. You guys have been in several other district finals over the years too. What's it like to get back to this level again and continue to sustain this type of excellence for so long?
Well, it's always great. It's always great to win a couple tournament ball games, and to be back in a district final again is fantastic. A credit to our kids, our coaches. And I think over the years we've had outstanding kids to work with and had outstanding assistant coaches. So from a program standpoint, we've had a great opportunity to be successful over a period of time. And really in the last 3 years, we might have been in a few more district finals that had not been for South. So we get another shot at them this week.
Well, thanks for joining us, Coach.
My pleasure.
We really appreciate it, and good luck on Saturday.
Well, thank you very much.
And yes, thank you very
much. All right,
much.
take care.
And this is we're going to be joined by Frank DiRenna now. That game's going to be 4 o'clock on Saturday at Ohio Dominican. That is one of 2 Division II district finals that's going to be held on Saturday at Ohio Dominican. I mean, guys, this is a really interesting matchup because Watterson has really come on. They actually they've played South here a couple times in the last few years. You guys have any initial thoughts about the matchup?
Well, South is the impressive thing about it is them. The Bulldogs can play both styles. They can run and they can play. I saw them hold the ball for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and a lot of times you don't see that with teams that you think like to push so much. Like they love to push it,
sure. But
they can pull back and play half court. So that separates them from a lot of teams because most teams can't play both ways. And it'll be interesting to see if Watterson tries to slow the game down.
Sounds like coach is optimistic though. They're coming out for a couple of nice wins.
Yeah.
Sounds like they're ready to go and looking forward to that challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, South was a district championship team last year. What a great run South has been on the last several years. number 1 seed this year with 24-1. That would be a really great matchup. And Watterson always, the CCL teams always do really well when they're playing in these Division II district tournament games, and I expect it to be a really entertaining game. The next, the other Division II district final is 2 more CCL teams. DeSales against Hartley. We got number 3 DeSales against number 4 Hartley. It's a couple teams that they know each other well. I mean, DeSales beat Hartley 50-47 on December 21st, and then Hartley won the rematch by 1 point. I mean, Scott, I know you've watched a lot of these CCL type of games over the years. I mean,
yeah.
What's so great about this league?
There isn't a lot separating number 1 from number 5. I mean, St. Charles, they're a bigger school, but they had a lot of young players, but they held their own, and they were 500. They were second in the league, well, third in the league, but and then Hartley, they always have players, and they had the D2 player,
Right, Oregon Safford. Super. He really burst onto the scene this year. He had a great game last year in the district final, and he just kind of carried that over this year, averaged 25 points a game for him. Really a standout player. And he's going to be the best player in that game. But, of course, there's a interesting couple details about DeSales that really are kind of interesting to me. Coach Pat Murphy's in his 2nd season. Up until last year, he was the athletic director of Watterson. Or, I'm sorry, at Hartley. So it's like, these guys, they know each other. They know each other really well. It's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be probably a low-scoring, 40s, 50s type of slugfest out there.
Great time to be a CCL fan, though. With 3 teams in the finals, it's good grade for the league.
Absolutely. Well, also on Saturday, there's 4 Division I games, and we're gonna talk about all 4 of those for a moment. The first one is at 11 o'clock. Thomas Worthington, 17th seeded Thomas Worthington against 5th seeded Pickerington North. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think that was necessarily the matchup we would have predicted when this thing started.
Thomas Worthington is getting healthier, though. They're a big guy in the middle. He's been out about half the season. Anyway, he's back healthy now, and that makes a big difference. He's a presence in the middle.
When Thomas makes their threes, they're a lot different team. I mean, if they're hitting from the outside, and as they showed last night against Bradley, they can play the half court and move the ball. 4-4 after 1 quarter.
Halftime, like 13-12 at the halftime.
What a great story Thomas Worthington is. They did 5-17 last year, and here they are in a district championship game. Jaylen Sullinger, boy, he's looking really good. I got to see him play against Dublin Jerome several weeks ago. Very impressive. And he's a sophomore. Only a sophomore, and he's going to go against one of the district's other best sophomores, possibly the best one, Jack Sawyer from Pickerington North. I mean, that's an exciting matchup right there.
Yes, it is. And Sawyer might be the best post player in his class, definitely, but maybe in the area.
Yeah.
He's impressive.
I was a decent football player, too.
He's not bad.
Yeah.
He's not bad from what they said.
Yeah.
I mean, averaged 22 and 11, so that's, yeah. That's a really good matchup. And then our next matchup in Division I, Pickerington Central, number 3 seed against 7th seeded Reynoldsburg. This is another one of these matchups where the teams know each other really well.
Yeah.
They played each other twice. Reynoldsburg lost both games to them, but they're very competitive.
It's hard to beat a team 3 times. I mean, Bradley found that out against Thomas Worthington. I mean, they know everything you're going to do, and if they come out with a good game plan, anything can happen.
Reynoldsburg got a little scared in the first round with Westwood South.
That's right.
Took them to overtime and had to win in overtime, so maybe that was a wake-up call for down the road.
Maybe. That one thing that this is not the Reynoldsburg teams of old where they just kind of ran up and down the court and didn't play defense. This team is not like that at all. Defense is their number 1 forte. So, how they can handle Javon Garcia and some of the inside guys that have kind of emerged from Pickerington Central. I mean, that's a great story. Pickerington Central is kind of an underrated great story if you think about it. I mean, they lost 2 starters at midseason to the OHSAA transfer rule, and here they are again.
Still doing okay.
They're still doing fine.
Okay.
Yeah. And I understand we found out in the last few hours there was a game time change in the other 2 district finals and all these are at the convention center, by the way. At 5 o'clock now is going to be Olentangy Liberty versus Hilliard Davidson. And the 7:30 game is going to be Olentangy Orange against Newark. And those games got to flip-flop. Now, you know Davidson really well. I know Liberty really well. And they played each other earlier this year. You know, what's been so special about Davidson?
Davidson has a front line. They've got 3 kids over 6'3", 6'4". Gage Keys leads them in the middle. I mean, they still haven't played their best game in the tournament, and they found a way to win 3 games. So I know Coach Congrove, who's our district coach of the year, he's looking forward to maybe playing their best game of the season, which they'll probably need against Liberty.
Yeah, and the thing about Liberty is Kirshner's back.
That's right.
And they're unbeaten when Kirshner's on the floor. The 4 games they lost, he was out with, what, an ankle injury was it, or what was it?
Yes, I believe that's what it was.
So I saw him last night against Westerville North, and they're clicking on all cylinders. They had 4 guys in double figures. They were really impressive last night.
And of course, they've got the district's player of the year in Ben Roderick. And he's had a spectacular season, averaging 27.8 points a game, I believe. Liberty's all-time leading scorer. You know, he's on a mission after losing his postseason last year. So that's that's really exciting to see that kind of a rematch there. I mean, earlier in the season, Davidson beat Liberty 64-62. So, and then our 4th Division I matchup, Olentangy Orange, another surprise against 9th-seeded Newark.
Now, I don't know if Orange is really that big of a surprise because
okay, but they did beat Kaufman.
Yeah, yeah, but they
maybe an underrated team. Maybe that'd be better.
Yeah, I mean they have 5 guys who can shoot, and not many people can say that. Everyone on their floor can shoot the 3 and make it. They don't have anyone over 6'3", but they're all around 6'2" and 6'3" pretty much, and they do a really good job of. You know, when you have that many people who can score, you got to figure out who to guard. And that makes it tough.
Okay, I feel good for Coach Callow, young Coach Callow. First time on this stage, I would think.
No, he made his first year. He made it to district finals.
So he knows what to expect this week.
Well, I figure he's been to a few district finals.
To watch?
Maybe to watch.
You expect it?
And by the way, Newark is back in a district final, and I don't know how many Coach Quackenbush has been in, but it seems like it's every year. So
he is one of the best coaches in the district, if not the best. He can work magic with his players.
Absolutely. Well, moving on to Division III, there's a couple games Friday night, also going to be at the Convention Center. First one's at 6 o'clock, Grandview versus Johnstown. That's the number 6-seeded Grandview against 3rd-seeded Johnstown. And then the 8:30 game, Harvest Prep, top-seeded against 4th-seeded Columbus Academy. Grandview's a team I know you know them well, and they're coming off a really good win.
They're playing really well. They were beaten by Columbus Academy late in the season, and it sidelined their hopes for a league championship. But they've been on a roll since then. They played Johnstown in the championship of their holiday tournament over the holidays, and they lost 56-35, but they were without post player Luke Lachey and their point guard Adam Cincione.
Okay, so this will be a completely different game.
Aaron Cincione, sorry, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes because Johnstown, they have a lot. I mean, Owen Hazelbaker is one of the best players in the area, and the Lusk boy, he's a sophomore. He's incredible for a sophomore. He's an immovable object.
Yeah, I had a coach describe Columbus Academy as kind of playing a little bit of bully ball when they need to. I mean, they must be a really physical type of team.
They've got 2 kids who are 6'3", 6'4", and football players, linemen, and Chris Boyle and Dalen Dupree. Boyle's going to play football at Brown, but they can shoot the 3, but they can also go inside and muscle it too, which they did against Wellington.
And Dorian Moultrie's quite a player too, right?
Point guard, yeah. And they were down 10, 12 points to Wellington and came back in the second half and beat them. I know Coach Horse is looking forward to this game, but he knows it's going to be a big challenge.
Yeah, Harvest Prep is the number 1 seed. They've lost 3 games combined since the beginning of last season. I believe they're 51-3 since the beginning of last season.
That's it?
So, yeah. And you know they're going to be motivated. I mean, they lost in the state semifinal last year. And they've got a lot of those same guys back, including C.J. Anthony, averaging 25 points a game, District Player of the Year, exceptional player. So looking forward to seeing that Friday night. Now there's a few other events going on this weekend we want to make sure that we highlight as well. Friday night at 7:30 up at Otterbein, Reynoldsburg is playing Pickerington Central for the Regional Division I Girls Basketball Championship. That's a remake. I mean, those teams know each other really well too. They played each other twice this season. Central beat them twice. Kind of a matchup of styles, sort of. Pickerington Central has the incredible guard play with Malia Perry and Madison Green, and Reynoldsburg has one of the best post players in the area, kind of more like forward, Uju Azudu. So that should be really exciting. And then Afro Central girls are playing in a Division III regional final on Saturday, 6 o'clock at Lexington against Findlay Liberty Bennett. And just a quick note about that: Afro Central's 25-0, and they've got one of the greatest players to come through here in a long time at Jordan Horston. She's playing at a really high level right now. Made 5 threes in their regional semifinal win last night. I do think that there will be a little bit of a challenge for them in the fact that they're playing this Liberty Benton team's 25-1. They have a 6'4" post player named Caitlin Elsesser, who a very good player. She's already scored over 1,000 points, and she's only a junior. So could be an interesting challenge for the Nubians as they head into state, if they can win that game. And then on Friday morning, we're going to have Dublin Jerome against Hunting Valley University School in a state semifinal in ice hockey. Jerome, Central Ohio is not fared well in the state tournament, but perhaps this year can be different. They're playing a university school team that they actually beat earlier this season, so there is hope for those fans that follow ice hockey around here. So, and then I believe probably all 3 of us and many more reporters will be we'll be heading out to state wrestling here in a little bit down at Ohio State.
Now. Oh yeah, and there's a lot of good athletes from Central Ohio there. Hudson Jump of Grandview will be going for his second consecutive Division III state title. He's a 220. I know you've got a couple kids from
Liberty. We'll be going for another state title.
Kaufman should have some threats there too. But they double Kaufman's got some.
Seth Shoemate at 195.
Only a freshman.
Only a freshman. He's got a real good chance to do something possibly very special this weekend. And and Connor Brady from Old Tangy Liberty. Brady and Karchla, according to some different national rankings, are like #1 in their weights in the nation. So pretty exciting. And then I know you're going to be heading out to state bowling this weekend.
State bowling with Westfield Central, coming off 2 district titles, hoping to do well at state, and Westfield South will also be there. Should be a good weekend.
Also, Briggs is Dakota Fink from Briggs, girls bowler. Bowl was 708 last week.
Highest of boys or girls last week.
I mean, that's incredible.
No open frames in all over 3 games.
Yeah, that's really something. So anyway, it's a very busy weekend here in Central Ohio Sports. Thanks for joining us. For Coach Lombardo, Frank DiRenna, Scott Hennen, I'm Jarrod Ulrey, and thanks for joining us on another edition of Facebook Live.